Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. With a new travel year ahead of us, there are a few things you should know before you go. So in a few seconds, travel expert Onanta Forbes will join me to review some of those new requirements for 2025. Plus, we'll learn about traveling to Madrid, Spain. David Brodie, co-host of the Travel in 10 podcast and CEO and founder of the Voyascape Podcast Network, will join us to share his experience in Madrid. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along with a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hi, Onanta.
Hello, Randy. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Looking at some of the things that people should be aware of when traveling in 2025. I can't help but think that it's just going to cost us more money.
Oh, it is. And more confusion, I think, more than anything. It's always a hurry up and start event with different programs at times that are going to be launched. But one that did come into effect, and it is actual, it came into effect on January 8th, where Canadians will need an electronic travel authorization called like an ETA to go to the UK. And so they must apply for the ETA before traveling, and they must use the passport they applied on with for their ETA. So it's required for everyone, regardless of how long they're staying in the UK or reasons for travel, including through just simply connecting through a UK airport, because a lot of people do that to go maybe onwards to the rest of Europe or Africa. And it essentially grants permission for travelers to be in the UK as part of the country's mission to modernize its immigration system and strengthen its border. Now, you have to fill out the information on the UK government website or the UK ETA app on their phone, and it requires a photograph and some personal details, including passport information, along with a £10 application fee. You can apply for others, so one member of the family or group can secure visas for the whole party. It says it's supposed to be simple and fast, and you get a decision within 3 working days or sooner. And if, for whatever reason, your ETA application is refused, you're going to need to then apply for a visa instead. So hopefully you're not refused, because it gets, if you've booked and paid for your trip and you can't really enter the country, that will cause you angst.
Now, is this one of those cases where you have to prove that you have your ETA before you even get on the airplane?
Yes, the airport or airline personnel will ask you for it. And if you don't have it, they'll deny you boarding.
Okay, there's one that we know that we got to do. There's a few, though, that were announced and then kind of delayed, and we don't really know. They're kind of in limbo, it sounds like.
That's it, exactly. And that's the European Union. It's called a European or Travel Information and Authorization System, ETIAS. So it was supposed to be launched in November of last year. It didn't get launched. And now it's 2025, and we expected it to be in place, and it's still not in place. It said mid-2025, but we really don't know that. So if you are going to keep that in the back of your mind that you do have to get one. It does take, I would definitely plan ahead, and as soon as it's released and you're going to go to Europe, take advantage of it and go ahead and get it. So it's a authorization process that will require people from over 60 visa-exempt countries, including Canada, the U.S., to have travel authorizations when entering 30 European countries. So it's similar to the UK's ETA program. It does not replace any existing visa requirements. So if the country already had a visa requirement, you still have to go forth with that. But it's supposed to look to improve security. Now, you can enjoy multiple entries to participating countries for short stays, typically up to 90 days across to a 180-day period. It is going to be valid for 3 years, and it will work for 3 years or until the passport that you applied on expires.
I get it.
So, yeah, so you do have to keep that in mind as well. Now, again, it is not launched yet. It hopefully will know sooner than later, but it has been delayed a few times.
Mm-hmm. Well, and now just getting back, because that brings a question to mind with that, the UK ETA,
Mhm.
is that a one-time thing each time you go, or is it for a couple of years?
Same thing. It's for a couple of years or until your passport expires.
Well, that's good. So you don't have, once
Yes.
you've applied, then you don't have to keep doing it, right?
No, you don't. And for business people that works out well if that's, a point of entry
Mm-hmm.
that you need to go to the UK many times or, visiting friends and family as
Mm-hmm.
well,
Okay,
right?
so now another one that's kind of in limbo is this Mexico cruise fee. They did announce that it was going to start in January, and then they bumped it back, I heard, now to the summer, but who knows?
Right. Yeah, so Canadians planning to go to Mexico should know about this new fee, and it is supposed to be coming in effect till 2025. It was announced in November of last year, and the Mexican government voted to charge basically it's equivalent of almost $60 Canadian immigration fee for all passengers on cruises that dock in the country. And there's many places that it docks, like on the East Coast or on the West Coast. So do be aware. Now, I don't know, like say you book a cruise, if it will be included in the cruise passage
Mm-hmm.
or you'll have to do it separately. So
Yeah.
that's still a question that hasn't been totally formalized yet. But again, working with a travel agent, that's part of their role in working with you to get your travel arrangements in a seamless manner, that
Mm-hmm.
they'll be on top of that as well.
Now, I thought it was just for cruises into Cancun, or I guess, Quintana Roo, which would cover Cozumel. I thought it was just for those ports, but it's for any Mexican cruise port, is it?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm reading here, that it's for all passengers on cruises that dock in the country.
Okay.
But again, subject to change, right?
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we should know? Anything else that's going to
Um,
cost us more money is what I
well,
mean.
potentially it might. So this is the year for 2025. It's the Rome Jubilee. And Italy is a really popular destination for Canadians. It's a motto of the celebration is Pilgrims of Hope, and the Jubilee year will last over the whole year until January 6, 2026. So we're warning clients of how busy it will be,
Mm,
and prices are, maybe reflective of that because whenever, companies or businesses or countries see that there might be an influx, the prices will potentially go up. And
yeah, of
also
course.
just keep that in mind because we already know Europe is busy during summer months, right?
Yeah.
So if it's all throughout the year and Rome is a great point of entry for airports and cruises and so on, that it will be busy in Rome.
Hmm.
And then if you're in Rome, you want to visit other places in Italy as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, also the price of a Nexit card is going up, or has gone up.
It has gone up, and it was big. I thought it was big anyway. It almost doubled. It used to be around like $50 US,
Hmm.
and now it's
Hmm.
gone up to 120. And this new fee came in effect in October 2024. If you are planning to travel across the border, I have a Nexus card, and I like it. It's fast, it's efficient. I can get through customs pretty easily. I can move through the states pretty easily if I have a Nexus card and into Mexico. So I like it. You know, now 50 to 120, it is definitely something you have to think about,
Yeah.
but it is something that is encouraged to transit borders more quicker and efficiently.
Yeah, well, if you do go to the U.S. Often, then time is money, as they say. So if you think
Yes.
it's worth your money, then or your time, then why not?
Now, this is more for Americans, and it's called the Real ID launch. Have you heard of this?
No.
Right. So I guess it's a requirement for American travelers to, it's what they're hoping to do is finally go on the books in May where their TSA is enforcing this requirement. And so it's going to start May 7th, 2025. And Americans, when they travel domestically, they usually can just show their driver's license for ID.
Mm-hmm.
And now, though, they have to actually apply for this real ID so that they're compliant with their driver's license so that they can travel domestically. And I think it's definitely a crackdown on, I guess, movement within the country, who's moving, who's legal and who's not so legal. And when you're applying for the real ID, you're going to have to provide your full legal name, your date of birth, social and security number, and 2 proofs of address. And other requirements could be needed depending on the state. So with the new administration coming in and their crackdown on immigration and such, I think this is going to be something that people are going to have to pay attention to.
Yeah, just more little details that you need to know, and that's why you always say, and we always say that it's good to have a knowledgeable travel agent on your side to remind you of all those things.
Right, because there's times where you go online and it seems like a really straightforward process to book yourself somewhere, but it doesn't tell you always, depending on the site, if you need a visa, if you need an ETA. Yeah, so it's very important that you know what documentation you need. One source that you can look at is called Sherpa, SHERPA, and that will tell you documentation and potentially medical, I guess, criteria that you may need to
some
enter a country.
countries require you to have medical insurance, those types of things too, right? So got to have all your ducks in a row.
Yes, absolutely.
Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. You can check out her website, onantaforbes.com. Good advice, Onanta. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one of the major hubs and popular spots to visit in Spain is Madrid. It offers all kinds of sights and experiences. So joining us now to share his recent visit to Madrid is David Brodie. He is the co-host of the Travel in 10 podcast and CEO and founder of the Voyascape Podcast Network. The website is voyascape.com. Hi, David.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for doing this. You cover a lot of destinations on your Travel in 10 podcast. Maybe just give us a little background on Travel in 10 podcast.
For sure. Well, we've been podcasting for a while now. I started the podcast back in 2005, so we're going on a few years now. But in the last couple of years, I've been doing a weekly show where me and a co-host, Tim Johnson, a travel writer who is constantly on the road traveling around the world. Me and him both sort of talk about our travels and where we've been, and try and every week give sort of a quick 10-minute overview of what to see, where to go, what to do when you get there for different destinations around the globe. We try and keep it to 10 minutes, although once I brought on Tim as a co-host, it's now more 10 minutes-ish. We tend to go more 15, 20 minutes sometimes as we get into destinations.
I know the feeling. 10 minutes goes by fast, and it seems like you haven't covered anything, but you do cover a lot of destinations. We're going to talk about Madrid. When were you there?
I was just there a few weeks ago, just prior to the holidays.
Nice. Okay, so is this the first time you've been to Madrid? I've never been, so you can talk to me like a 5-year-old.
It is the first time I've been to Madrid. We've been to Spain previously and toured through Barcelona, but happened to be going over to a conference in the south of France in Cannes, and it just so happened during the time I was there, it was my daughter's 16th birthday, and I was going to rush home to be home in time for her birthday, but then my wife came up with the great ideas. Rather than rush home, why don't you bring her along to the conference and stay over in Europe for a few days so you're there for her birthday? And luckily she has, through her school, they do a bunch of exchange programs to Spain. So a bunch of friends in Madrid, and we decided to go spend some time there and meet up with some of them.
Nice. Well, you also got to see through the eyes of a teenager as well, which gives you a different perspective sometimes.
Absolutely.
So what did you like about Madrid? What were the highlights?
It's lots of highlights. I mean, it is certainly a very much a I would say a food focused city. There is some amazing places in terms of dining experiences throughout the city. We happen to be there over the sort of holiday season, so a lot of buzz going on around the holidays, Christmas markets and decorations. A lot happening throughout the city in terms of that as well, and just a ton of history and culture there as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's like I said, I've never been, but I've seen images. It seems like it's a big city. Is it easy to get around? Is it intimidating for someone first timers?
It is pretty manageable. I mean, the ride in from the airport was probably about 40 minute ride from sort of the airport into downtown. But once you get into downtown, you really don't need a car, for example. Everything's very walkable. But particularly most of the main sort of tourist attractions of the city, and most of what you're going to want to see is in a pretty concentrated area and sort of the historic downtown area. And so it is very manageable from that perspective, for sure.
Nice. And so I'm assuming you stayed sort of in the downtown area.
We did. We stayed at a really cool place, a hotel that right now is flagged as a Westin, but they're converting over. It was under extensive renovations as we were there. They're changing it over to a luxury collection hotel, a place called the Palace Hotel, which right near their sort of Parliament buildings, only about a block away. And this used to be sort of the royal guest house, essentially for many years, for the Spanish royal family, and now it was converted over to a hotel that the public can stay at. A great historic property. I mean, it's certainly well in excess of, I think it's almost 200 years old now. Really an iconic luxury hotel with a very storied history, right near things like the Prado Museum, and it's got this amazing glass dome, and really famous for their Sunday opera brunches that they do there as well.
Nice. So what were some of the highlights then? What stood out in your mind, and maybe even your daughter's mind?
Well, for sure, it was, if you like tapas, this is a great place to go. We did a lot of sampling of cuisine throughout the city, and no shortage of cool places to check out. We were fortunate we ended up on a really good tapas tour through it's called the Tour Guys, where they do like this sort of like a pub crawl, but really focused in on cuisine and focused on these small bites that you have in every different destination that you go along the way. And that was definitely a big highlight for both of us. There were some very, in terms of museums culture, you had on sort of two ends of the spectrum, I would say. If you wanted to go with, a very classic European museum experience, a place that I would say rivals the Louvre in Paris for sure, the Museo del Prado, where you're going to find, just a massive, museum housing some of the world's greatest artworks and particularly focusing in on Spanish artists like Goya and El Greco, that you could spend days there. I mean, it was really a massive museum, and just across the street from where we were staying, which was great. But then if you wanted to go on sort of the other end of the museum spectrum, we also checked out a place called the Madrid Light Art Museum, where this is all focused on light installations and contemporary art. So, if you have to be traveling with teens, this is, I would say, like a highly Instagrammable moments and immersive experiences for sure.
So, is it like neon lights? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was all different types of exhibits, all focused on light installations. So some of them were very interactive. So, for example, one of the first ones that you walk in and experience, you stand in a corner of the room, and as you wave your arms, this light art display interacts with you and how you're moving, and sort of different things like that as you move from room to room.
So did you have things planned out before you arrived in Madrid, or did you sort of just wing it?
That's a good question, because usually I am hyper planned on most of our trips and right down to the minute. But this one, because it was a bit of short notice, we were totally winging it. We were just kind of walking around, and because the city was so walkable and so easy to sort of explore around, it was easy to be able to do that and stumble into some great stuff.
So what surprised you the most about Madrid? Not necessarily what you saw, but just a general feeling or vibe that you weren't expecting.
That's a good question. One thing that actually surprised me, and I found this now twice when we've gone to Spain, is that they do tend to. It's definitely a bit more of like a late night culture for sure. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you want to go out for an evening meal, it tends to be sort of 8 o'clock onwards, 9 o'clock onwards. And because of that, we expected things to be open quite late, but they actually aren't. It's like people go out for dinner from about 9 to about 11. And restaurants are busiest probably around 10 to 11, but then a lot of them it's hard stop right at 11. So when we arrived our first night, we knew there was all this kind of late night dining culture. We expected to go out and be able to find a place, and after 11, it was actually pretty tough around our hotel.
Eat and get out.
Yes.
So now for people, like if you're, chatting with people about Madrid and they're looking for some tips, things that they need to know or should know, what tips would you have for some people that might be planning a trip to Madrid?
Well, one tip I would have, one thing that's kind of very, I would say a big attraction that almost everyone goes to see there is their main central market, Mercado de San Miguel. This is, one of the city's top culinary spots. You've got, very much focused on tapas. This is where you're going to find Iberian ham and fresh seafood and cheeses and really a bustling atmosphere. It's super busy. It's packed with locals, packed with tourists. It's also quite expensive. And I would say, definitely go see Mercado San Miguel. It's 100% worth it. And the area around it is really kind of a hub within the city. Mm-hmm. But if you're really looking for a great market experience, I would go a little bit further. There's a place called Mercado de San Anton. And this is a little bit more of a trendy food market area. The food stalls I found just a little higher quality there. There was a standout spot, a place called Gusto that we went to that had the chef who was doing. They were just sandwiches, but they were the most incredible sandwiches I have ever seen, and they were like works of art. And every single one, he would take 15 minutes to make the sandwich and was making it in front of a crowd of people and cheering him on as he made them. It really has to be seen to be experienced for sure.
So in general, is Madrid expensive? I know the Canadian dollar is not good no matter where you go, it seems, but and I'm not looking for specific prices on anything, but in general, did you find it affordable?
In general, we had just come through on the trip. We had been in France and Italy just prior to this, and then into Spain. And I would say Spain was a little bit more affordable than either France or Italy were right now. But that being said, definitely the impacts of the Canadian dollar you noticed for sure, right? It was you're paying about 30% more on kind of everything than what you're paying here.
Try not to do the conversion when you're trying to buy something.
Exactly. It looks good if you're not doing the conversion, but then as you get home, the reality of it hits home. Yes.
Wait till you get your credit card statement.
That's right.
They'll show you the pain right there. So now I would think Madrid is a major city in Spain. So if you wanted to branch out into some of the other areas, you could probably use it as sort of a central point to explore the rest of Spain, right?
For sure. It's incredibly centrally located. In fact, every road in Spain begins. There's a starting point in the middle of Madrid, where every road in the country sort of branches out from there, and that's kind of the center point that they all connect back to. So it's incredibly well connected to the rest of the city. And you can be in, I think, Barcelona. Actually, some Spanish friends who came to visit us came up on a day trip from Barcelona. So,
nice,
easily connected between the two.
Hablas español? How is it easy to converse, or do you need to know a little Spanish? Does it help?
I am being from originally from Alberta. My second language skills are not as good as I wish they would be, but so I had no Spanish and I had no problem traveling around. I found everywhere everyone was very certainly bilingual and very welcoming as well.
Well, there's always an app for that too, right?
That's true. That's true.
I'm sure your teenage daughter could introduce you to. So.
That's right. And luckily, her second language skills were much better than mine. She speaks fluent French and some Spanish as well. So she was able to carry the day.
Anything else you want to add? Anything else about Madrid that stood out?
Well, really, I mean, that tapas tour that we did, I would say was definitely a highlight. The one we did with the tour guys. There was another, like a tapas restaurant that I'll call out as well. That really sort of unusual and vibrant place. And this was a restaurant that was open late. I think one night we went there even like 1 a.m. it was still open, called Rosie La Loca. And it's hard to describe, but you walk in and it's almost this like undersea theme, very vibrant, very colorful. You've got like singers who will just bust out singing, walking around in the middle of the restaurant, projections on the tables where they've got sort of digital light shows and projections as you're eating around the tables and around throughout the restaurant. And these crazy drinks, like you would order whatever sort of cocktail, whatever that you wanted, and they would come in massive mug that looks like one that looks like an octopus, one that looks like a different character. It's hard to describe, but it was a very sort of playful, lively, cool spot for sure.
Awesome. Well, if people want to find out more about Madrid and other destinations on the Travel in 10 podcast, they can go to the Voyascape website, voyascape.com. And David Brodie is the CEO and founder of Voyascape Podcast Network and co-host of the Travel in 10 podcast. It was fun chatting with you, David. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Really enjoyed you having me on.
Well, this is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me with any questions you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler, on Instagram at Informed Traveler, or on X at Informed Traveler. So now, as always, we like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. Good day, sir.
Hello, Randy. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
We started this past week, and we've talked about it a few times. Again, we just want to remind everybody that if you booked your own flight, or if your agent has booked one for you and you're traveling to the UK, or even transiting through the UK, then to make sure you check and apply for the ETA, Electronic Travel Authorization, that you need to enter or transit the UK. And you could do that right on the Government of the UK app on your cell phones, which is the recommended one. And if you have issues or you don't like technology, you can always book it through Travel Core. That's travel with a K and then KORE. It's a Canadian company, and they're authorized to do the ETA visa for the UK. So, and again, it's one of those things. We just had a client this week was scheduled to fly through Frankfurt, and last minute cancellation of the flight. They rebooked her. She had to go through London. And again, we advised her that she needed that ETA, which she was not aware of. So again, you booked
it
your own
doesn't
flight.
cost anything though, right?
Yeah, it costs about $25. $20 to $25 depending on which site you use. Yep.
All right.
Yep. But again, like I say, the notification was on her updated Air Canada ticket. So again, they were reminding her, and she called and says, "Well, what's all this?" I guess, "Well, this is what we got to do." And by all means, like I say, even if you did book with us, give us a call and we'll help you work that out. Until February 9th, Air Canada Vacations, travelers can enjoy up to 40% off select escapes to Mexico, Caribbean, Central America, Orlando, Hawaii, and California. So lots of choices there for your trips coming up. And again, if you're a cruiser, you can save up to $300 off a couple on flight and cruise packages to Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America, and Hawaii. And with the cruises, all the flights are 100% refundable up until 24 hours before travel.
Wow.
Which is a big bonus because if you book your own airline and you book tickets before, you can't cancel them.
Yeah.
So again, and they're going to throw in their Air Canada Vacations free cruise guarantee with that too. So it's a win-win when you're booking with Air Canada Vacations.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
And if you want to double dip, earn Aeroplan points. I know you have them, I have them, on all flights with Air Canada vacation bookings, and that includes cruises as well as all other packages. And with all those Aeroplan points in your account, you can now use them to pay for any package, any amount, anything booked with Air Canada Vacations. So we can help you do all of that. All you have to do is convert those Aeroplan points in your account to Air Canada gift cards. You give us those numbers, and we'll apply as much as you want towards the cost of your Air Canada vacation bookings. And in some cases, I know a couple of clients have had enough; they pay for the whole package.
Perfect. I like that too.
Yeah, exactly. Exotica Tours. You'll like seeing a lot of their great commercials on TV and wonder who are these guys. They're fairly new into Canada, only 3-4 years now. All around the world and still expanding in certain destinations as they continue to grow. So your package is complete with airfare. You get to select the flights that you want, not be told this is what you got to do. Packages include, depending on your budget, your accommodation, and they've got 3 styles to choose from. You have the classic, superior, and of course luxury. But when you're pricing these out there, you see that there's not often a very big difference if you want to spoil yourself with an upgrade to that superior or luxury category. So keep that in mind. Excursions are included, and you're also going to have some free time at destinations, so you can explore on your own, or they always have other excursions that you can add in if one suits you. Repeat clients, and we've seen a lot of these over the last couple of years with Exotic or whatever. Always get special pricing and rewards in your account to save on your next trip that you book with them, and they're finding a lot of clients booking again and taking advantage of those offers. So right now, they've got saved from $200 to as much as $1,000 a person on new bookings made by the end of the month, January 31st, on their tours.
Wow, that's good too.
It is.
Yeah, lots of good deals today.
Yeah. Any kind of savings are good savings, I think.
I think
somebody
so
gives
too.
me a coupon, I'm going to use it.
I like how they reward repeat customers too, though. I like that
And
too.
pretty much a lot of them do. I know the river cruises do. A lot of them have past passenger discounts and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good way to like I say, they're looking for loyalty and people to come back and stay with them. So again, good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Holland America Cruises launching January with free balcony upgrades, free kids fares, and up to $400 onboard credit, and more on their 2025-2026 cruises. So they're saying we can explore Alaska's towering glaciers, discover timeless Greek ruins, or unwind in a sunny Caribbean beach. As they like to say, the world is yours to explore, and that's so true. The world is yours to explore however you want to do it.
It is very true.
Virgin Cruises, adults only, 18 plus on board, so no kiddies. No single supplement for those solo travelers. They have limited cabins on every sailing and luxury cruising, but meaning more value, not necessarily what you expect when you hear the word luxury, where the feeling is not like pretentious by any means. Getting dressed up might mean your best Hawaiian shirt and your khakis or your dress jeans. They have a couple of theme nights. If you want to participate, you can take along your PJs. And they have a scarlet night, which is all red instead of the traditional white night. One of the things I like about them is over 20 restaurants, a lot of Michelin star chefs, 24/7 food availability, no buffets at all, no extra charges in any of the restaurants. So you go as much as you like, no judgment. You're on vacation. Take advantage of it as much as you want. Right now, new sailors are saving 80% off the second guest and up to $300 US in free drinks.
Ooh.
And trust me, with that $300, that's a lot of drinks for their pricing that they have on board the ships, because their pricing is really, really reasonable. We always talk about the importance of working with an agent and having travel insurance, especially where you could have so many more reasons to have and use it nowadays. Even just for traveling out of province in Canada, but not only traveling abroad. So a couple of examples we always give our clients when we're talking about it is we had a lady who broke her leg in Panorama. After a short stay in the hospital in Invermere, she had to be transported back to Calgary by ambulance. And after that, received a bill from BC Ambulance for $800 that healthcare didn't cover. Now, she had coverage to work, so she was good to go. We had a client who was traveling to Los Angeles for a specialist appointment at the airport. At the last minute, the flight was canceled. So she wasn't able to go. She lost her $500 plus US dollar hotel costs for having to cancel at the last minute, and she had no insurance.
Oh,
she didn't want to take insurance.
Yeah.
She now takes insurance every time she goes down.
I bet she does.
And one of our major insurance examples, and this one was really a tough one for us, but we had a nice couple in their early 40s, no health concerns, traveling for almost 3 weeks, doing a land and a cruise vacation. On the cruise, the husband had a heart attack on day 3 in his 40s, no conditions. He was airlifted to Puerto Rico, and after a long recovery time and finally able to fly him back to a hospital here in Canada, his total medical bill was over $1.6 million US.
Yikes.
So again, have that discussion. We don't care who you have it with. Medical is probably like this one we just mentioned is going to be your biggest cost. So make sure you have something. We would just want to make sure you're looked after and don't have to have any issues, have bid some mums to you.
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly. And also with all our Manulife travel insurance plans that we sell, if the policy has the trip cancellation interruption component, you just register your flights within 72 hours of when you're traveling, and they do all the tracking. So if you're sitting at the airport and all of a sudden you got a delay and it's more than 3 hours, you're going to get a bing on your telephone. You're going to get a $40 voucher, so you can go have a meal and a beverage. And if the delay extends another 3 hours or more, you're going to get a second voucher for $100. So again, use that free call. Let's have a discussion. You never know how much value that could have to you later on.
And that's regardless of the delay, right?
Regardless of the delay. Exactly. Yep.
So if you're stuck in a snowstorm, that would be a good thing to have.
Snowstorms, icing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It does add up. So,
yeah.
And again, a big shout out because it's early in the year. But thank you to all our clients and to you, hopefully, new clients that are listening. We appreciate you listening each week and helping us reach our 25th anniversary milestone last year. Do remember to like both the Crowfoot Travel and the Informed Travel Facebook pages. Check them out. There's a long list of things that come up on there that, especially on yours, that you're putting up there, day-to-day stuff that's going on, keeping you updated on ongoing travel situations. And again, a lot of times we also have some great travel stories, some tips, tricks, and advice, and even some great travel offers, savings that we may not mention on the show. So check them out.
Yes, and if people want to give you a call, what's that number?
In Calgary, 403-241-7140. And outside Calgary, you can call us toll-free, 1-877-511-5511. And you, too, can relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir.
Have a great week, everyone.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.